Hey friends, we're here at another video. Now, of course, I look burnt and red, so don't mind that. Just a little sun, that's kind of happened. What are we doing today? We are taking a look at the 007 First Light Legacy Edition that has come out, obviously, last week, and I'm just getting around to unboxing it today for your enjoyment, so you get to see what the Legacy Edition is included. There's a lot of fancy little videos out there and unboxings, but a lot of them just kind of don't talk about the specifics because, let's just face it, 007's an old franchise. I, of course, have got one of my older Omegas for the Casino Royale edition. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. The edging on the glass actually says Quantum of Solace, and also has 007 on the back. It's one of the Ocean Sea Masters that I got when I was a huge fan, and I've grown up with 007, so seeing a new kind of version of it in a video game is kind of a big deal, as well as the Hitman franchise as well. The Hitman developers are actually doing it, so I'm pretty positive about it, but let's take a look at it. I'm actually going to stream it this week, so if you do get a chance to take a look at gameplay with me, we'll see it from there. I've heard mixed, but more positive, I think, than negative based on kind of the remarks on it. But you know what? It's 007. I'm glad we have it, so I'm sure it's going to be just as sufficient and well as it should be. So here it is, big old box. This is the PC Steam Edition, Legacy Edition of First Light, and it includes the golden gun on the side, as well as all the little stuff on the back. The biggest thing that everybody has mentioned is the golden gun. The golden gun itself, I don't think has anything to do with this particular game, other than you can probably skin your pistol to look that way. A lot of folks generally remember the golden gun if you've played 007 GoldenEye and some of the newer editions. They did incorporate it. A lot of times I think they kind of pick this because it's one of the most renowned firearms and weaponry that is in the repertoire of 007. And of course, if you are a James Bond fan, you'll know that the weapon that he sports around is not the golden gun, it is the Walther PPK. And if you've seen that, then you're probably a pretty close fan of it. I've seen all of them several times. Probably the one that I've only seen the least amount is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, that has Mr. Zanzerby as the 007. Personally, it's not my favorite one at all. It's actually the one that has the lore, though, of James Bond actually having a wife, and she basically gets killed at the end. Of course, other versions of James Bond and other movies do reference his wife getting killed and assassinated later on because of his line of work, but we never kind of find the true details. So if you are a big, kind of lore fan when it comes to this sort of thing, then watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service and you'll probably see it. They kind of changed it up and retconned it a little bit, but of course, if you are a James Bond fan, they always do that because every movie is a little bit different. And this is, of course, when it comes to the movies, it's of no exception. When it comes to the games, I mean, they haven't really continued much of the games ever since. So, it is what it is. We're going to talk about the golden gun, though, where it came from, why it's being highlighted. The inner box, I just took the outer box of it itself, is the same thing. So we will tear this open. Wow, they really put a lot of the tape and stickies on this one. And of course, lots of padding, as you can see. Try to take this out without things falling everywhere. but you never know. Of course, the top Deluxe Edition upgrade, which comes included with the Deluxe Edition of the game. This gives you all the skins and stuff that you need for the game that you have. Of course, this is the PC Steam Edition. It'll be interesting to see if they have a disc, and I doubt that they will. We take all the padding off. First thing comes to mind that has the cover and everything is the Golden Gun itself. And of course, the thing to keep in mind is this is a statue. It is not an actual weapon you can pull out. So it is really just a piece to show that it's there, and none of these things come out. And even if they did, it probably wouldn't be a full weapon, which does kind of suck a little bit. It's a little bit disappointing in me for $300 because that's how much this is. However, at the same time, I mean, I'm not going to go flailing around this thing and actually use it, but so it's good to do that. I'm sure, knowing them, they can't actually give out a bunch of fake weaponry. At least that's usually frowned upon by a lot of folks. So this is what you get. The thing to keep in mind, and this is where kind of the history comes in, is we have the hair trigger, which is usually the this whole weapon itself, if you've watched it, comes from a special assassin from the Man with the Golden Gun. All right, let's talk about this. Let's backtrack a little bit. So I was kind of saying that some of these parts here that make up the weapon actually separate. If you've watched The Man with the Golden Gun, you should probably see this. You've probably seen it in the movie, but they never do go into full detail. So, what do I mean by that? Well, the gun actually consists of 5 different parts. Consists of, the handle itself is actually a cigarette holder. Back in the day when you used to have cigarettes, you used to not have cartons, you would put them in a holder, and this would preserve them, so if you need them later, you could do that. So this was a golden cigarette holder itself that would connect to this, which this piece is a golden lighter. This is a lighter that was used for your cigarettes. And if you look at this particular piece on the barrel, it kind of resembles a bit like a pen, which is exactly what it was. This particular third piece was a pen that was separated, which was used in the movie when it was separated. And then last but not least, the hairpin trigger, which this right here was actually hidden in the cuffs and cufflinks of the shirt of the person holding on to it. I said 5, so that covered 4. Where's the 5th one? The 5th one is actually the bullets. This all put together allows you to actually shoot 1 bullet itself before you have to reload. It was a 1-shot kill only. And the bullets were actually hidden in your belt clip. That was kind of what it was incorporated with. It would have been super dope. And I was kind of hoping and betting on it that it would, but it didn't. That you would be able to separate these pieces in order to make your fake blaster that you got here into something. However, they're probably not allowed to do that, which is what happens here. As I assemble these pieces, I can talk about the history of it, because the other piece is this, which this is the holder piece that has a secret compartment at the bottom that most folks have shown. And this compartment has your steel book for your CD, and also the little holder here that goes at the top, so then it actually holds it, so you can display it at your heart's content. While I talk about that, let's open this here. This is the steel box, or steel book actually. In the steel book, of course, it's a place for your holder of the CD, and then of course this that comes out that is actually put on the display, which I will put there, as well as a certificate of authenticity. And of course, because of the fact that I have a PC version, it is purely digital, and there is no disc that comes included with it, so I'm going to have to buy one to probably separate it. But this is a magnetic piece, and then I will assemble all this together. So, where did the Golden Gun come from, you might ask? Well, here's where I can tell you. The Golden Gun was obviously from the novel of Ian Fleming. That particular novel actually was more for a cult versus the weapon that you kind of saw there. And it changed actually for the movie. Believe it or not, a cult is fired in The Man with the Golden Gun when it is incorporated. And it is used as a way to basically shoot a trick shot. So let me back up a little bit. So the Golden Gun was created by a man that his name was known as Francisco Scaramanga, also played by Christopher Lee, one of the most badass type of, probably one of the best villains, I would say, as he was really cool, especially for the Man with the Golden Gun. He is known in the movie itself as kind of the opposite of what 007 is. So that's what happened with that and incorporated that. He grew up, the character itself, not Christopher Lee, but Francisco Scaramanga actually grew up as a trick shot artist for a circus. And as he did that, he eventually got basically recruited by the KGB. And then once he was recruited by the KGB, after a while, he was a overworked, underpaid assassin. And yes, you can get all this information from the movie itself. And when he did so, he realized that he was really good at actually killing people. So he went freelance, left the KGB, and actually decided to start his own business. And that's where you get the Man with the Golden Gun, whose running price ultimately was $1 million per hit. And that is pretty astonishing in order to actually get in a field to be able to make it so it's $1 million for whatever you want. In the movie, he then has a aspiration and motivation to be the best, and when it came to trick shot shooting, he eventually discovers he just loves killing people, which is why he does it with the higher rate. And then he basically kind of almost borderline worships Bond a bit, because Bond has a license to kill, and throughout all the movies he ends up killing plenty of people in the, kind of for the use of Queen and Country. And so they kind of have a little competition that happens. If you watch the movie, I recommend it. It's fantastic. He does shoot a Colt, but it's not gold, obviously, because this is his version in the movie itself of the Golden Gun. And this, of course, is shown in a number of games. It is shown, of course, GoldenEye being one of them. It was the one you sought after in multiplayer. And yeah, it was a fantastic item. It was one of those you picked up, you shoot once, you reload, but if you hit somebody with it, they were dead automatically. So everybody always tried to go after the Golden Gun for GoldenEye. So that's your history lesson. That's kind of your intro to it. I imagine this is just a piece to bring everybody together. It seems like a lot of people bought this. There is a VIP version of this, which I imagine is just for influencers, where instead of the bullets, they actually replaced the bullets here with a display and kind of a voice mod that they've included. I, of course, am not that popular enough to get something like that, but it does incorporate with 5 different golden bullets. It does have a golden gun, and it does showcase kind of the 5 different pieces that are together, which make it amazing. I don't know if I would have spent $300, but hey, I'm in a time in my life I'm able to budget and do that accordingly, so I don't have a problem holding on to this because it'll be a fairly good piece of memorabilia I'll probably have for a very long time. So that is the unboxing of the Legacy Edition of First Light. That's your history lesson of the Golden Gun, and hopefully I'll see you all on the streams. I'm going to be doing some different forms of content creation that you will see on the channel, and thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing, and all that good jazz, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take it easy.